Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me today. Today I am going to walk you through how to create a simple cheese board. The ingredients that you will need and the items that you will need to help create this are going to be a cutting board for your actual cheese board itself, a second cutting board for actually cutting your ingredients. You'll need 2 glass bowls, you'll need a sharp knife, you'll need pita bread, crackers, 2 dried fruits, which I have selected dried cranberries and dried apricots. In my lesson plan, I did select summer sausage. However, at the grocery store that I chose, they did not have summer sausage. So I went ahead with a hard salami. You can improvise, and that is okay. And then I selected 3 cheeses. I selected a soft brie, an aged cheddar, and a whiskey aged cheddar. So the first thing that you need to do when preparing your cheese board is to measure out and map out how you're going to place all of your ingredients on the board. You don't want to get to the end and not have enough room for everything. So what I first do is I measure with my bowls. I have 2 glass bowls. They actually already have hummus in one and green olives in the other. They have lids on them, so while I'm preparing the rest of my board, I can go ahead and place them back in the refrigerator so that they stay cool until I am ready to present for my party guests. The next thing that I do is I take the bags of my dried fruit and I place them on the board where I'm going to place them. I'm placing them on opposite sides of the board so that they're not too close together and you have a little bit of variety when you're selecting from your cheese board. The next thing that I will do is I'm going to take a piece of pita as a placeholder because I want it next to my hummus. I will be cutting these items up into bite-sized pieces, but again, we're just road mapping at this point. Next, I'm going to place my aged whiskey cheddar right next to the hummus and the pita bread. That's where it will be when it is all cut up. The aged cheddar itself will be right next to the dried apricots and the olives. I'm going to be placing a few slices, not all of it, of the meat in the center of the board. I already know that, and I'm going to be shaping them into a flower-like shape. So they'll fit a little bit closer together, and I know that. So I have a little bit of room in the middle of my board. I will be placing my crackers around the olives, and I will be placing my brie next to the crackers. The crackers and the brie go great together because the brie is so soft. Now that I have road mapped, the next thing that I will do is begin cutting all of my cheese and my pita bread into nice bite-sized pieces. All right, so next I'm gonna go ahead and just like in our road mapping, I'm gonna go ahead and place the dried fruit. We were going to put the dried apricots in one corner and the dried cranberries in the other. So I'm going to start with the dried apricots. This is going to be to the creator's choice. You put however much you feel needs to be on the board, but make sure that you leave room for the rest of the ingredients that will be going on the board. You can always add more later. So I have placed my dried apricots in that corner, and the dried cranberries are gonna go into this corner. They are a little sticky, so if you need, go ahead and bring a towel with you or a paper towel to wipe your fingers, just so they don't stick to the bags. All right, so we're going to call that good for the moment with our dried fruits. If I need to fill in some space later, I will add more. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place my cut up pita bread. Like I said, I made them into small bites so that my party guests will be able to eat them easily, dip them into the hummus. They will be able to put a piece of cheese on top, whatever they would like to do with it. But it's small enough that they can do that. So I will go ahead and put it just like so. I'm going to leave a little bit on my prepping cutting board. Just in case I have room later, I will add more. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to add my first set of cheese, which was the aged cheddar. I'm putting the aged cheddar between the green olives and the dried cranberries. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of that just because it wasn't a very big brick of cheese, and I want the party goers to be able to enjoy all of it. So get creative with it. You can put them in a design, you can just lay them flat. I'm going to lay mine going two opposite directions, just like so. Facing that way, the other's facing this way. Get creative with it. This is your board. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to place the brie. I left the brie in the entire slice. However, I do not like the rind. So I went ahead and I cut the top rind off. I left the back and bottom rind just in case my party goers might enjoy it. But this will allow them to go ahead and take a cracker and dip it into it if they want and not get any rind. But it is so soft that I wanted to leave it in a whole brick. So I'm going to place it just like so, right up next to my apricots, which I'm going to move just a little bit. It is a fairly large piece of cheese, but that's okay. It still leaves room for our whiskey aged cheese, our crackers, and our meat. And we still have a little bit of room left over if we want to add more ingredients at the end. But let's go ahead and add the other ingredients that are not on the board. Like I said, I wanted the crackers right next to the cheese because the soft brie and the crackers go very well together. You kind of want to help your party guests along so that they know what to pair together. Again, get creative with it. It can touch the other food. That is absolutely acceptable. It can even hang off the board just a little bit. All right. The last thing to add is the whiskey aged cheddar. Do be aware that sometimes your cheese does not cut the way you want it to. It might be too soft, it might be a little bit crumbly, so you just have to work with what you get. Now I'm going to make what I call little flower shapes. I'm not the best at it, but I try and be as creative as possible. I'm just taking my hard salami, I'm pinching the bottom together, and I'm going to place it in the bottom of the board as a pretty decoration. I'm only going to do this with a couple of slices because I don't want to overwhelm the board with my meat. Again, be creative. Do whatever you feel and add as much as you want. You know your party guests and you know your tastes. So this is kind of about you. All right, I've gone ahead and I've added a few pieces of that salami, and that still leaves a little bit of opening here. I do have quite a bit of the pita bread left, so I'm going to add the remaining pita bread so that it doesn't go to waste. Just like such. And then I have a little bit more room in this corner where my dried cranberries are, so I'm going to add some more dried cranberries just to fill in that space a little bit. All right, and you can spread those out, you can clump them together. That again is your choice. All right, so my board is complete. The last thing that I do if my party's not right away is I go ahead and cover it, but I do like to taste test right before I put it away. Bon appetit!